Chosen one, you are not here because of curiosity or coincidence. This encounter was arranged long before you ever decided to press play. Time, awareness, and spirit have been carefully synchronized to position you in this exact moment. What you're feeling is not imagination. It is divine timing unfolding with precision. The Lord is drawing your focus because you are standing at the threshold of a supernatural shift. What has been postponed is now being released. What has been held back is beginning to move into your hands. God reveals what is hidden, and He honors those who truly listen. So, open your spirit. There is a warning approaching, but alongside it comes provision, protection, and elevation. Stay attentive. Heaven is addressing you directly. What I'm about to share is not theory. It is not borrowed inspiration. It comes from seasons where heaven felt silent, where answers were delayed, and where family wounds ran deeper than language could describe. If you are here now, it is because your awareness is being interrupted for a reason. Something connected to your mother has been shifting beneath the surface. At the same time, something tied to your future has been aligning quietly behind the scenes. There are moments when God does not raise His voice. He applies pressure. He creates an inner tension that refuses to be ignored. Recently, you may have felt it, a weight when you think of your mother, an unusual urgency when her name surfaces, a subtle nudge telling you that something is changing, even if you cannot explain what. That is not emotional overthinking. That is discernment waking up. Every time God prepared to lift my life financially, spiritually, internally, He first dealt with unresolved areas in my foundation. Family is part of that foundation. Blessing does not skip roots, it heals them. Heaven does not elevate what is fractured, it restores it first. This moment is not about blame, it is about clarity. There are truths connected to your mother that remained hidden, not because they were meant to stay buried, but because the timing was not right until now. Timing in the Spirit is everything. Revelation too early wounds. Revelation at the right moment heals and unlocks. You are approaching a divine transfer, not only resources, but authority, not only provision, but position. When God entrusts greater weight, He removes blind spots. Before increase, there is exposure. Before promotion, there is alignment. You may notice old patterns surfacing. Conversations feel different. Comments carry unusual impact. You are seeing what you once overlooked. This is preparation. You are learning to see without fear and hear without offense. Your mother's story shaped you more than you realize. Some of her decisions came from survival, not intention. Some silence was protection, not deception. Yet certain spiritual patterns passed through her life that heaven is now interrupting so they do not continue through yours. This is where responsibility meets compassion. You are not being called to fix her. You are being called to stand aware. Awareness breaks cycles. Awareness invites protection. Awareness positions you for freedom. When awareness first began to open my eyes to patterns within my own family, it was deeply uncomfortable. Seeing clearly often is, but that clarity became the doorway to breakthroughs I had prayed for over years. Financial doors did not open until emotional and spiritual doors were acknowledged. There is a reason heaven is speaking to you now. What is moving toward you requires stability. Sudden increase without internal clarity leads to collapse. God is not careless with blessing. He prepares the vessel before He pours the oil. You may be closer to a breakthrough than you realize. Provision expanding, status shifting, opportunity emerging in ways effort alone could never produce. But with increase comes responsibility. Responsibility to walk in wisdom. Responsibility to answer with love instead of reaction, responsibility to let God lead instead of forcing outcomes. I have watched people miss divine timing because they reacted emotionally when they were meant to respond spiritually. This is not the season for angry confrontation. This is the season for observation, prayer, and alignment. Heaven does not reveal to shame. It reveals to protect. Protection is part of your inheritance. You are not behind. You are not late. You are precisely on time. Let this settle in your spirit without rushing to conclusions. Do not assume the worst. Let discernment mature. Let peace guard your reactions. What is coming next will require clarity, not chaos. What you are experiencing right now is not random tension. It is the intersection between inheritance and interruption. Heaven is interrupting cycles that were never meant to follow you into your next chapter. And this involves your mother, because lineage is a gateway. Through it, both blessing and resistance can travel. As I moved closer to financial expansion and greater authority, God began exposing generational blind spots in my own life. Not to dishonor my parents, not to accuse them, but to prevent cycles from quietly draining my destiny. Some patterns looked spiritual, others looked emotional. Many appeared normal because they were familiar. But heaven sees beyond familiarity. Money is not just currency. It is amplified responsibility. It magnifies whatever foundation it rests upon. That is why God does not release overflow into unresolved lineage without first bringing awareness. If He did, blessing could fracture relationships instead of stabilizing them. What you are sensing now is stabilization before increase. You may notice that your mother's words affect you differently lately. Reactions may feel stronger than expected. This is not regression, it is exposure. When light enters, discomfort follows. That discomfort is not danger. It is alignment at work. In my own journey, I discovered how inherited emotional patterns shaped my relationship with provision, fear of losing, guilt around respeasing, over-responsibility. These lessons were never spoken directly. They were absorbed, and until I recognized them, breakthrough remained delayed. Once awareness came, release followed. Heaven is preparing to trust you with more influence, more resources, more authority, and that requires maturity beyond emotional reflexes. The enemy does not always confront you openly. Sometimes resistance attaches itself to what feels familiar. Voices you have known for years, environments that shaped you, reactions that once felt normal. That is why Scripture reminds us that the real struggle is not against flesh and blood. The battle is subtle. And subtle battles require discernment, not force. Your mother is not your adversary. But there have been influences around her, pressures, wounds, old agreements that were never meant to determine your future. Some of those influences were born from her own unresolved pain. Others came from voices she leaned on during vulnerable seasons. Heaven is not instructing you to confront her. Heaven is inviting you to see clearly. Clarity is power, and power attracts provision. You are not being cautioned because disaster is approaching. You are being prepared because something good is near. Resistance often intensifies at transition points, especially when financial elevation and legacy shifts are involved. If you have felt unusual delays, sudden pressure, or emotional fatigue connected to family dynamics, do not assume you are off course. These signs often appear when you are very close. I have lived through seasons where promotion was within reach, yet the real test was not effort, it was restraint. Choosing silence over argument, prayer over explanation. alignment over reaction. Each time I chose wisely, doors opened that striving could never unlock. This is not a season for proving yourself. It is a season for positioning your heart. Positioning your responses, positioning your trust. God watches how you handle insight. Insight without humility becomes pride. Insight carried with humility becomes authority. Do not rush to speak everything you now perceive. Some revelations are meant for prayer, not discussion. Some truths must mature in intercession before they are ever voiced. Guard what God has shown you. Provision is drawn toward peace, not chaos. That is why you may feel an internal slowing, even while external movement begins to accelerate. It can feel confusing, but it is intentional. You are not losing ground. You are being rooted deeper, and deeper roots can sustain heavier blessing. In this moment, your task is simple but powerful. Observe without judgment, pray without panic, and respond without haste. These are not passive actions. They are strategic positioning. You may not see immediate change in your mother, but unseen shifts often happen quietly before they manifest visibly. Seeds break open underground long before anything rises above the surface. Do not uproot what God is growing through impatience. You are also not responsible for carrying emotional weight that does not belong to you. Compassion does not require absorption. You can love fully without internalizing stress that was never assigned to your spirit. Boundaries are not rejection, they are protection. Protection is part of your inheritance. As you remain steady, peace will increase, clarity will sharpen. Favor will follow. Favor rests on those who walk wisely under pressure. Now we must talk about your response, because response determines outcome. Revelation by itself changes nothing. Reaction can delay what revelation was meant to unlock. Heaven is observing not only what you perceive, but how you carry what you perceive. There is a reason everything was not shown to you at once. You are being trained in discernment, not suspicion. Discernment produces peace. Suspicion produces fear. One strengthens destiny, the other fractures it. I learned this through failure. There were times when truth became clear to me, but I handled it emotionally instead of spiritually. Each time I reacted too quickly, progress slowed. But when I paused and allowed wisdom to lead, movement returned swiftly. Your silence in this season is not weakness. It is controlled authority. God entrusts insight to those who can hold it without broadcasting it. Some truths are meant to grow quietly in prayer before they ever reach your lips. You may feel the urge to explain yourself, to correct misunderstandings, to confront what you now see. That urge is human. But not every urge is instruction. Maturity asks not only, is this true, but also, is this the right moment? Your mother may be under pressures you cannot fully see. Pressure does not justify harmful behavior, but it often explains it. When God shows you what is beneath behavior, He is inviting you to respond from strength instead of emotion. Strength does not need to raise its voice. Strength remains steady. Understand this clearly. Financial. Opportunity is moving toward you, and opportunity gravitates towards stability. Money flows toward those who can carry weight without becoming reactive. That is why this season feels like refinement. You are not being restricted, you are being trained. Before leadership comes restraint. Before overflow comes emotional stewardship. The ability to regulate emotion is spiritual discipline. It keeps you aligned when pressure increases. There was a time in my life when I felt deeply but spoke very little. It was uncomfortable. Yet it was the very season that preceded unexpected provision. Not because I forced outcomes, but because I stayed aligned. Alignment is stronger than effort. Right now, you are being asked to observe without judgment, pray without anxiety, and respond without haste. These are strategic choices. They keep you positioned while heaven works behind the scenes. Change in your mother may be subtle at first. Do not measure progress only by visible signs. Transformation often unfolds quietly. You are not called to fix everything. You are called to remain grounded. Now we move from response into prayer, because how you pray in this season matters deeply. This is not the time for anxious repetition or emotional bargaining. It is not the season for pleading from panic. It is the season for steady, grounded, authoritative prayer that flows from trust. There was a period in my life when I prayed constantly, yet saw little visible movement. I was sincere, I was faithful, but underneath my words was urgency rooted in fear. I thought more words would create faster results. What I did not understand then was that heaven was not waiting for volume, it was waiting for posture. When my posture shifted, everything else followed. Prayer is not about persuading God to act. It is about aligning yourself with what He has already decided to release. Right now, God is not hesitant. He is precise. He is positioning you so that what He releases will not overwhelm you or damage what matters most. So when you pray, slow down. Let your breathing settle. Allow your body to calm. A regulated spirit invites clarity. Peace is not weakness, it is readiness. Your prayers should sound different now. Instead of asking why, declare trust. Instead of demanding when, declare readiness. Instead of begging for protection out of fear, thank God for protection already in place. Gratitude shifts you from petition into partnership. Heaven responds to agreement. This is also the time to pray for your mother without carrying her burdens as your own. Intercession does not mean absorbing weight. It means standing in clarity and love while trusting God to do what only He can do. You are not assigned to manage her healing. You are called to remain steady and cover her in prayer. When I stopped trying to fix those I loved and released control, peace entered my life in a way I had never known, and change began to occur without confrontation. God works powerfully when we step out of His way. Ask for wisdom more than explanations. Wisdom will guide timing. Wisdom will shape your words. Wisdom will guard relationships while heaven works beneath the surface. You are also being prepared for financial movement. This is pattern, not hype. Emotional clarity often precedes monetary increase. Money magnifies what is already present. God intends to magnify peace, not pressure. You may notice ideas surfacing naturally, opportunities appearing without force, conversations that open doors without manipulation. Pay attention. These are indicators of alignment forming. Do not rush them. Simplify where possible. Remove unnecessary noise. Protect your focus. Distraction weakens discernment, but intentional attention strengthens it. You do not need to announce growth. You do not need permission to mature. Let quiet alignment be enough. As alignment strengthens, confirmation will begin to appear, but not always in dramatic ways. Many expect clarity to arrive loudly, all at once, unmistakable and overwhelming. In reality, confirmation often unfolds quietly through patterns rather than announcements. One of the first indicators is an internal shift. Situations that once triggered you no longer carry the same intensity. Conversations that used to drain you feel lighter or shorter. You are not shutting down emotionally, you are stabilizing spiritually. That stability is grounding. It means your inner structure has been reinforced so you can move forward without being pulled backward. I remember when this happened to me, nothing around me changed immediately. The same people were present, the same responsibilities remained. But inside, something was different. Where there had once been urgency, there was calm. Where anxiety once dominated, there was trust. That was when I realized heaven had already moved before anything visible shifted. Confirmation often begins within before it appears around you. You may also notice repetition. Similar themes surfacing in unrelated conversations, the same message appearing through different voices. A thought returning to your mind without effort. This is reinforcement, not coincidence. Heaven confirms what it is preparing to establish. Resistance may begin to weaken, delays resolve without struggle, obstacles that once felt immovable begin to soften. It does not mean life becomes effortless. It means friction gives way to flow. Financially, this may show up as small but meaningful openings. A discussion that leads to opportunity, a solution arriving at the right time. Resources appearing in ways you did not anticipate. Do not dismiss modest beginnings. God builds steadily, so what he establishes see, an endure of go bonk. You may even notice subtle shifts in your mother. Not dramatic transformation, but softened moments. Reduced tension. Brief clarity where confusion once lingered. These quiet adjustments are signs that prayer is active beneath the surface. Healing rarely announces itself. It unfolds gradually. There is also a test that accompanies confirmation, restraint. When alignment becomes evident, the temptation is to move quickly or speak prematurely. Resist that impulse. Let clarity mature. What God reveals, he reveals to prepare you, not to rush you. Waiting is not hesitation. It is discernment in motion. Confidence will begin to grow, not loud or urgent, but steady. A quiet assurance that you are supported, that even if challenges arise, you will remain grounded. Protect that confidence. Remain observant. Stay grateful. Let confirmation come to you without chasing it. When confirmation becomes undeniable, the natural impulse is to accelerate, to prove, to announce, to move quickly, so nothing is lost. But this next step is not about speed. It is about crossing over with intention. Crossing means you refuse to drag the emotional weight of the previous season into the new one. Many receive clarity, yet transition poorly. They step into opportunity while still thinking from scarcity. They receive increase while reacting from old wounds. They gain insight while carrying outdated emotional habits. That is why God slows this moment down. He wants you light enough to move freely. Releasing emotional weight is not denial, it is obedience. You are not pretending the past did not shape you. You are deciding it will not lead you. There is a difference. The past informed you. The future now directs you. This is especially vital in family dynamics. Love does not require entanglement. Compassion does not demand self-sacrifice that drains your peace. You can honor your while maintaining healthy distance where necessary. Distance is not rejection. It is stewardship. I learned that every time I carried responsibility that was never assigned to me, clarity diminished. Decisions became heavy. Progress slowed. Peace thinned. When I released what did not belong to me, strength returned. And unexpectedly, relationships improved rather than deteriorated. God does not ask you to carry what he did not give you. As you step forward, notice how your body responds. Alignment often communicates through peace before it manifests as success. If something consistently drains you, it requires re-evaluation. If something consistently brings calm clarity, it deserves space. This principle applies financially as well. When opportunity appears, do not ask only if it increases income. Ask whether it aligns. Does it require compromising peace? Does it create urgency that disrupts stability? Not every open door belongs to you, but every door meant for you will carry peace with it. This is also the season to redefine your identity. You are not the one who reacts impulsively. You are the one who discerns. You are not the absorber of chaos. You are the stabilizer. Identity shapes behavior. When you see yourself as entrusted, your responses naturally change. Gratitude becomes essential here, not only for what is beginning, but for what is ending. Thank God for confusion that sharpened discernment, for delays that shielded you, for pressure that refined you. Gratitude seals transition. Maintaining what God establishes requires rhythm, not intensity. Many believe spiritual strength means constant striving, always alert, always pushing, always doing more. But what lasts is built on balance. God does not sustain what is forced. He sustains what is ordered. As provision expands, as responsibility increases, the true test is not whether you can receive more, it is whether you can remain centered while receiving it. I have seen people pray for enlargement, then lose themselves inside the very thing they requested. They became busy, reactive, distracted. Alignment faded because rhythm was ignored. Alignment is not a one-time achievement. It is daily protection. Guard your inner quiet. Not silence from people alone, but silence from unnecessary mental noise. When your mind is constantly crowded, discernment weakens. You begin reacting instead of responding. Create space in your day where nothing is demanded from you. That space is not wasted. It is where clarity renews itself. When I stopped filling every moment with information, God's guidance did not become louder, it became clearer. Clarity does not compete with noise, it waits for stillness. Honor your limits. Limits are not weakness, they are design. Ignoring them leads to burnout, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Burnout rarely comes from doing good, it comes from doing good without boundaries. As you grow, expectations around you may increase. People may want more access, more time, more explanation. You are not obligated to give everyone everything. Energy is currency. Spend it wisely. Growth may also shift family roles. That shift can feel unfamiliar. Do not shrink to maintain comfort. Growth reorganizes relationships. That does not mean love decreases. It means love matures. Financially, steward, increase quietly. Do not rush to display success. Let it stabilize. When resources grow quickly, humility must grow intentionally. Generosity protects the heart from attachment. Give without announcement, bless without control. Generosity keeps fear of loss from taking root. Guard against comparison. As your life changes, you may measure yourself against others, or feel others measuring themselves against you. Comparison distorts vision. Stay focused on your meant. Continue simple grounding practices. Gratitude in the morning, reflection at night, awareness during the day. These habits anchor expansion. Challenges may still arise. Alignment does not remove difficulty. It equips you to face it without losing peace. You are not responsible for maintaining everything. You are responsible for staying aligned. God handles the rest. Now we reach the stage of sealing what God has formed within you. This is not done through noise, grand declarations, or dramatic displays. It is sealed through quiet confidence and settled assurance. Completion in the spirit often feels calm, not intense. Beginnings are loud and full of motion. Completion is grounded, steady, and sure. You may notice fewer questions arising, not because you know everything, but because trust has replaced uncertainty. That trust is maturity. When God seals a season, urgency fades, replaced by assurance. You no longer chase confirmation, because peace has already confirmed it internally. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means freedom, freedom to act without panic, freedom to respond without reaction. Sealing happens when fear loses control over your choices. Forgiveness deepens naturally in this stage, not as a single act, but as a posture. You stop revisiting past wounds, replaying conversations, or seeking validation from those who cannot give it. Forgiveness becomes the environment you live in, not an obligation you perform. This is especially vital regarding your mother. Seeing clearly does not mean forgetting or excusing. It means releasing expectation. It means releasing expectation. You allow her journey to unfold while keeping your peace intact. That release is one of the most powerful gifts you can offer both of you. As sealing occurs, simplicity becomes magnetic. Fewer words, more presence, not withdrawal, but refinement. God removes what is unnecessary so that what remains carries weight. Words become clear when spoken sparingly. Actions become effective when intentional. Some relationships may adjust naturally, not through conflict, but through distance or changes in rhythm. Allow this to happen without resistance. Alignment reorganizes environments. This is not loss. It is divine order. Financially, sealing shows in clear stewardship. You are no longer reactive. Decisions regarding money are deliberate. You think before spending, give without anxiety, and protect what has been entrusted to you. God does not bless chaos. He blesses order. Order attracts favor. Gratitude becomes effortless, genuine, and natural. You see your growth, acknowledge your progress, and recognize strength where fear once lingered. Gratitude seals transition. Sealing also removes intimidation. Problems no longer feel overwhelming. They remain present, but you no longer feel dwarfed by them. You respond from authority, not fear. Clarity replaces panic. Direction becomes evident, even if every step is not yet visible. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence fuels consistent action. Consistency sustains blessing. Blessings solidifies. Resist explaining your growth to those who have not walked with you. Let life itself speak. Stability invites respect. Explanation invites debate. Maintain daily grounding. Anchors keep you steady as territory expands. Stillness, reflection, gratitude, and discernment are not small habits. They are what make lasting impact possible. Now you step into quiet authority, carrying the fullness of what God has positioned within you. Authority is not loud. It is recognized in how you move, how you respond, and how you remain steady under pressure. You do not need to justify your growth or defend your boundaries. Consistency communicates what words cannot. Your internal compass has been refined. You no longer require constant signs to validate direction. You move from being driven to being led, guided by discernment and anchored in peace. Old cycles may attempt to return, familiar reactions, expectations, or guilt. But you are no longer bound by them. Each time you choose clarity over reaction, the old patterns weaken. Authority is strengthened through repeated wise choices, not through perfection. Your presence now carries weight. Conversations feel calmer and chaos loses interest. This is not by chance. It is the natural result of sustained alignment. Where reaction once invited disorder, steadiness now commands respect. Speaking selectively becomes a tool of stewardship. Not every insight needs to be shared. Not every truth needs a platform. Silence, when intentional, protects what God has already secured. When you do speak, let words be measured, deliberate, and carry peace. Words shaped by peace hold influence without force. Authority flows from calmness, not volume. Your mother can be honored without absorbing what is not yours. Respect does not require agreement, and support does not demand sacrificing your stability. This balance preserves both your peace and your relationships. As financial opportunities expand, proceed with wisdom. Wealth should enhance peace, not compromise it. True increase carries sustainability, not stress. God is not rushing you. He is establishing you. Return often to stillness, which recalibrates alignment and keeps your inner world ordered. Expansion requires anchors. The more you grow, the more intentional you must be in remaining grounded. Doubt may whisper, but it does not signify a loss of faith. It is a reminder of your humanity. Respond with remembrance. Recall progress, the shifts you have undergone, and the peace now within you. You are not who you were, and your journey is not finished. It has always been about clarity, revelation, and preparation for promotion, not fear or shame. You have been positioned for breakthrough because you embraced alignment over impulse. Now you walk forward without rushing, without proving, and without carrying old weight. You move with quiet authority, grounded confidence, and unwavering faith. Let your life reflect what your words no longer need to explain. Let peace testify to your growth. Let consistency declare your strength. Chosen one, heaven has spoken. You have listened. Now live from what you have received. Step forward with clarity, walk from alignment, and trust that what God has begun in your life will be sustained, completed, and multiplied in His perfect timing. Every detail has been arranged, every foundation strengthened, and every path prepared. You are not walking alone. This is your appointed time, your divine moment to move with authority, peace, and assurance. Stand firm, chosen one, and live fully in the fullness that has already been set in motion.